Today's lesson is going to be on metacognition, which is a very fancy word. So let's break it down. Meta means thinking about, and cognition means thinking. So when you put them together, it means thinking about thinking. That sounds pretty confusing too. So what is the difference between thinking and thinking about thinking? Well, let's say you're taking a test and you see the question 3 times 4. You might think of the answer, 12. Thinking about thinking is a little bit deeper. For thinking about thinking, you go over what does 3 times 4 actually mean. What it means is that you have 3 groups, 1, 2, 3 groups, and then you have 4 things in each of those groups. And they're asking you, how many things do you have total? So thinking about thinking, or metacognition, is the process your brain goes through to decipher a question. So how does this apply to reading? Well, reading is not passive. It's active. It's a conversation. It's not just your eyes looking at the page and the words going into your brain. Your brain has to talk back. Now this might sound weird, but when you read, there are actually 2 voices in your head. The first voice is the words on the page. The second voice is your train of thought. Let's look at an example. The first voice in your head might be reading, Johnny hated going to science class. Those are the words on the page. The second voice in your head might be thinking, why does Johnny hate science? The voice that said Johnny hated going to science class, that's the book talking to you. The why does Johnny hate science, that's you talking back to the book. However, sometimes that second voice is off task. You might read, Johnny hated going to science class, but you might be thinking, I wonder what's for lunch today. This happens a lot when we see a large block of text. So when I see this, I might start reading and go, the Napoleonic Wars of 1812 to 1815 were different in nature than any other war that had come before or would come after it. The wars were marked with a blah, 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 blah. I wonder what's for lunch today. So to focus that second voice in your head, or what you're actually thinking, you need to break the text into smaller chunks. Understanding small chunks of text is easier than reading a whole page, just like how it would be easier to move a bunch of tiny small pebbles instead of trying to push around a giant rock. If the text is really hard to read, stop yourself every single sentence and ask, did I understand that sentence? What actually happened? Are there any questions I have? Do I need to reread it? Stop at least every paragraph. Never read more than 1 paragraph without stopping and asking yourself, do I understand what I just read? Stopping every paragraph will refocus that second voice and help you make sure that you are understanding as you are reading. It will help to make sure that you never read a full page and at the end of it think, I have no idea what that was about.